Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Kurt, aka Vitruvian Gamer, and the end of 2019 is here. Well, tomorrow is the last day. I'm filming this on December 30th. But I don't think a lot is going to change. I assume not that much is going to change. I'm going to do my top 10 favorite games of 2019, my favorite board games of this year. Now, there's a very big caveat in this list. First of all, I haven't played all games. Of course I haven't. There are a lot of big titles, and there are quite a bit that are not on this list because I haven't played them yet. And I might never play them. There are so many games out there, and especially this year there were some heavier games that are very popular. Makaibo is one of them, Black Angel and all that stuff. That is just not right for my group that I mostly play with, the people I play with. So, although those games might be awesome, they won't be here. So, these are 10 games that I played and that I enjoyed the most. That's how the list goes. Before I do my top 10, though, I'm going to take a small look back to this year, to 2019, and I'm going to talk about the games that I played the most. Now, I'm going to skip over a couple of numbers because they might be in the top 10 as well. But in order also to show you how this year was for me in board gaming, I'm just going to tell you about the top 10 games that I played, the 10 games I played the most, and you will notice something in that list about what I told you before already. The bigger games, they're not there. So, my number 10 most played game is in the top 10. So I'm not going to mention that, but it has been played 7 times. My number 9, let's see if I got, my number 9 is, a very small one. I can take this one quickly. Super Cats. And this is in 2 or 3 evenings, folks. So I played a couple of games in a couple of nights. They play very quickly. This is a small game. I talked about it in an episode of Vitruvian Live. Very simple, but surprisingly funny game. Super Cats. Okay, number 8 is Imperial Settlers Roll and Ride. And that has mostly to do with the fact that I demoed this game for Portal Games. So I had to learn the game, had to teach the game, and sometimes when teaching the game, you also play with the people that you are teaching the game. So that's why I played this quite a bit. Number 7 is his big brother of Imperial Settlers Roll and Ride, the new game. Oh, it's a spoiler. It's in my top 10. I should not mention that. So that one will come soon. Number 6 is Just One, which is not a release of this year, apparently. It wasn't on the 2019 list. I guess it's from 2018. But Just One was very popular with my birthday, for example. That got played quite a bit. Also on our vacation to Paros. Very, very cool game. Just One is an awesome game. Number 5, new to me this year. One of my biggest surprises, and it got played quite a bit, is Fantasy Realms by WizKids. An awesome game where you're trying to score the most points with 7 cards in your hand. The only thing you do is, in your turn, is to draw a card, either from the draw pile or the discard area, and then discard a card in that discard area. And all these cards have synergies, they score points in different ways, all in very thematic ways. Very cool game, Fantasy Realms. Alright, my number 4 is on my top 10 list, so I'm not going to mention that one. Number 3, and now the top 3, you will notice a theme there, is That's Pretty Clever, or Ganz schön clever, the Roll and Ride by Wolfgang Wasch. I played that a bunch of times. Elisa really likes it. It plays quickly. It still takes some thinking, because it's not an easy one to find the right ways to score those many points by having combinations, by synergizing all these rows and columns. So that's my number 3 most played games together, same number of times, with Encore, which is called Nochmal in German, I think. A very simple roll and write where you roll some dice, and if you're the starting player, you choose a combination of a color and a number, and you cross off that color that times of squares with some rules to it, and that way you're trying to score columns, you try to score a color and all that stuff. Very simple, but really fun. There are some more sheets available for it, so you have a different layout each time, so very nice. But with an avenue ahead, so in the lead, my most played game this year is Welcome to. Very cool. Also a roll and write, a flip and write, so you're flipping some cards and you're choosing a combination between two cards, and you are trying to write number of houses in the houses on your paper. And again, with some rules, you have to go from low to high and all that stuff, trying to score some achievements. So that will show you the type of games I played the most this year, because I didn't have that much time or opportunities to play the bigger games. Okay, but now we go to the top 10. So the top 10 of this year for me, again, it's the games that I played. And so there are a lot of games not on this list, right? So don't forget about that. I made the list here. I want to give some honorable mentions. Ecos I liked quite a bit. The people I played with didn't. So it's for sale. Hadara, very cool. Seven Wonderish kind of game. Really like that one. We are really liking Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. Didn't make the list. Pharaon, I only played Pharaon solo so far. So I'm curious how it plays multiplayer, but I'm really liking the solo variant. Star Wars Outer Rim, very thematic game, very cool. Feels a little bit like Firefly the board game, but plays faster and smoother. Bloomtown was a very nice tile-laying game. Let's see, what else do I have here? Inuit Snowfolk, cool, also kind of a drafting game where you're that has a lot of respect for the team. Cool artwork as well. We have Minecraft Builders and Biomes, a very surprising IP game by Ravensburger. Quality of the components, some of them are meh, but the game itself was surprisingly good. But I only played it 2 players, and I'm curious to play it with more. Museum, very cool, nice looking game. Only played it 2 players. Want to try it with 4 first before I have more of an opinion about it. Ocean Crisis, not the greatest game, but it handles the respect for the theme of ocean pollution very well. Very cool on that part. On the Underground, London and Berlin by Ludic Creations, they managed to make a game, or to re-release a game and improve it, that is about trains or transport, but a theme that I don't like at all, but a game that I am liking. I really liked the game when I played it, so cool one. Point Salad, very quick, cool game set collection with each card being a vegetable or a scoring opportunity. Plays really cool, but it has some flaws in my opinion. What else do we have? Tapestry, very important one. I played only once, 2-player game. That was a very balanced game. Apparently there are some balancing issues. I still need to play it more to have my own opinion about that. And then we have, let's see, one more roll and write that I really liked, Silver and Gold. Very cool. You are drawing on these islands on cards, so they are erasable cards, and you're trying to score the most points with some rules. Very simple, very easy to teach and to play. Cool, fast roll and write. Also flip and write, by the way, no dice there. And then Unmatched Battle of Legends, this 2 or 4 player game, but it's mostly for 2 players, where you're fighting 2 factions against each other that are really strange. For example, Bigfoot against, let's see, Bigfoot, for example, versus, let's see who we have here, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, for example. Just crazy combination. Okay, a lot of talking. These were some honorable mentions that I just want to talk about very shortly. But now we go to the real top 10. So, my top 10, played it with the guys from another another podcast. I have no idea what their name is at this moment. I'm blanking out. It was a very fun game, played at the convention. Also a game by Wolfgang Warsch. He's on fire, of course, this designer. And I'm talking about the Tavernen van Tiefenthal, or the Taverns from Tiefenthal. I think that's just the name in English. This is a dice drafting game where you're dice drafting deck building game where you're trying to have the best tavern. You are placing your dice on your player board, which is a tavern, to activate all these things, which can give you money or ale. And with that, with those resources, you can get more employees. You can get more customers. You can get more tables in your tavern. Pretty cool system. I only played the base game. There are a bunch of modules in the game as well, which I'm of course very curious about. But the base game was enough to make it to the number 10. Next one is by designer Tom Lehmann. And Tom Lehmann is of course the guy that did Race and Roll for the Galaxy, so highly renowned. And this game is by Sandcastle Games, Res Arcana, in which this is if you play it the right way, a drafting game where you're trying to make a kind of an engine building, a little bit generic theme, but it's very cool that you only have a very small deck of cards that you play with, and these cards will give you resources. With those resources you are going to activate other cards. You're trying to buy these bigger location cards that score you more points when you activate them. A very cool, quick playing game. I really like that one. Elisa wasn't that big of a fan of it, but I liked it enough myself to put it on the list at number 9. Number 8 was a big surprise for me. Again, a Ravensburger game. Again, one of a big IP. First of all, the components were not great. They had some issues with components. I got replacement parts from Ravensburger, which was very cool of them. So great customer service there. But the game itself, I really enjoyed Jaws. Jaws is a one versus all game. One player plays Jaws, the other players are playing the three famous guys from the movies. And I tell you how famous they are because I don't know their names. It's Quint, Hooper, and Chief Brody. So they all have their special abilities. They're going around the island or on the beach, while in the first part of the game, while Jaws is trying to eat all the swimmers in the beach. And in the second part, depending on how well each team did in the first part, they get some bonus stuff. And then Jaws is trying to destroy the orca, the boat, famous of the movie. Very cool, very fun experience. Jaws, my number 8 for this year. Number 7, another big IP. A very big IP, folks. This is a living card game by Fantasy Flight. The people that do living card games for so long already. But this one is the Marvel one. Marvel Champions. This is, I guess, a 1 to 4 player game, which probably plays best 1 or 2 players, where you are picking one or more heroes. You make a deck with them, which is not that difficult in this living card game. There are card games that are way more time investing or consuming in ways of making your deck, but this one is pretty manageable. And then you choose a villain who has his own scheme, who has his own way of dealing with you, and also every hero, of course, is very different. For example, Iron Man, he starts very weak, but the more items you get of his suit in front of you, the stronger he will get. Very cool, and I'm looking forward to see more of this game, to see more heroes and villains, and who knows what else they are planning with this one. My number 6, I was super duper surprised that this was from this year, because there's already an expansion out, but apparently it's 2019 game. I guess I got the game in January or something like that, so it feels like it's a 2018 game, but apparently it's from this year. And of course, it's a very important one. It's also on my list, number 6 for me, but it's the Spiel des Jahres, the Kinderspiel des Jahres, Wingspan, by Stonemaier Games, designed by Elizabeth Hargrave. This game is probably the most talked about game of this year. You are trying to score the most points by putting birds in your tableau, and activating them, and they all have their special abilities. No two birds are the same, I guess. They have all their own artwork. Very simple way to play this, but it has a lot of depth. And as I said, there's already one expansion out there, the European expansion. New birds, also new abilities that have that do things at the end of a round. So and purple eggs. Who doesn't want the purple eggs? So that's cool. This game, we will see a lot of this in the future, I guess. A lot of new expansions from other continents, I assume. Alright, we go to the top 5 now, folks. The top 5. Number 5. When this came out and the first time I played it, I was just baffled by it. I played solo first, which is an awesome experience. I played a couple of multiplayer games. I really liked it. The only thing it has some analysis paralysis issues, maybe, for some people. But I am really liking Sierra West. It comes with 4 modules, so you can play any of those 4 and have a different experience a little bit. They changed the game quite a bit, but the base, of course, stays the same. You have 2 workers, 2 pioneers that go on these tracks that you make with 3 cards. You have to program a little bit, and they're moving on those cards and activate all different kinds of actions, getting resources, getting the 3rd guy on the mountain where you can get new cards and all that stuff. Very cool game, very good solo variant by David Turchi. This is an awesome game by Board and Dice and Jonathan Paquin. I believe I think it's French. It looks French. We'll see. Number 4, probably one of the least talked about games. I think this game really deserves more attention. This game is designed by one of the greatest designers of all time, the guy that made Magic the Gathering. And this game is a drafting game called Carnival of Monsters. And in this game, you're a little bit Seven Wonderish. You're drafting cards. You have a bunch of cards, you choose one, and you give the other ones to the player next to you, and so on and so on. And if you get a card, you get 2 options. Either you keep it aside for later, or you play it. In order to play it, you need to have, well, sometimes you need to pay for it, but most of the time you need lands. Yes, lands, like in Magic, and it has colors like in Magic as well, but that's where the similarities end. So you need lands that you pay those creatures with that you're putting on show. And after each round, you're going to score points for those creatures. Each time there are some demands from the audience to score more. And very cool. I love the artwork. The artwork is fantastic. But this game, folks, this game needs more attention because this is a very, very good one. And that's why it's my number 4 of 2019. Top 3, folks. And number 3 is a game that's still hard to get here in Belgium, in Europe. It's also because it's from Ravensburger, and I think it is maybe a Target exclusive, or was a Target and maybe Amazon. It's a cooperative game, feels a lot like the typical cooperative games like Pandemic, but the theme of Horrified, which is the universal monsters, is just awesome. So in this game you're playing some heroes, but not superheroes, but just people who try to solve the invasion of some monsters, and you can choose how many monsters you're fighting against. So you have a bunch of monsters in the box, 7 I guess, well 6, but one of them is actually 2 monsters. So each time you choose a combination of 1, 2 or 3 of whatever you want, how difficult you want it to be, monsters, and you're trying to solve their problem. You try to, of course, get a stake through the heart of how is it called again? Dracula. You're trying to make Frankenstein's monster and his bride more human, and then they can live as a happy couple in the future. You try to lift the mummy's curse and all that stuff. So every monster has a different way of being defeated. while you're also trying to get some villagers to the place where they want to go, to get them to safety. Otherwise the horror track will go up, and if it goes too high, you lose the game. Very cool. It comes with some small miniatures, but very basic miniatures, but still plays very quick, very fun. Horrified, probably my most favorite cooperative game. Yes. Number 2, and I know it's a Portal Games game, but and I'm very honest in this thing. Imperial Settlers Roll and Ride didn't make it to the list, for example, but this one, yes, it did, because this is Imperial Settlers, but better in my opinion. Imperial Settlers Empires of the North, which is not an expansion. This is a standalone game in which you are building an engine of your faction, of your clan. The base game comes with 6 clans. There's already 1 expansion with 2 Japanese clans as well. And it has some new things, different things, changes to Imperial Settlers, which makes the game go smoother, the flow is better, plays faster, and just a little bit less aggressive with the raising. There is no raising here. You can mess a little bit with your opponents, but not too much. A very cool game. Also, if you play this game, look at the artwork of every card, because every little piece of artwork tells a small funny story. Very cool. My number 2, Empires of the North. Number 1, folks, and this might come as a surprise, but because this is a small box, I've been showing you 9 big box games. So they're doing well. There have been some good big box games. But this smaller game is a roll and write, or again, a flip and write. It was my 4th most played game. That was on the list. Also, Empires of the North was on the list as well. That's number 9, I think, or number 8. But this one stole my heart. The theme is cool, the way it looks is cool, and the way it plays is awesome. It is, and people always make fun of me when I say this title, Cartographers, whatever. This is by Thunderworks, designed by Jordi Aiden. Jordi, you did an awesome job. So in this game, you are trying to please the queen by being the best map maker, and you are flipping cards, and those cards give you a type of terrain, or 1 or 2 types of terrain, and 1 or 2 shapes, Tetris type shapes, and you are drawing that on the map while you're trying to get some achievements. So each season, you're playing in 4 seasons, each season has 2 objectives. So the objectives have letters A, B, C, and D, and each season you have a combination of 2 of them, which is a pretty cool way of changing those objectives each season. You flip a card, you draw, and you try to score points. Sometimes there will be a monster, and the cool thing is when you draw a monster, each player gives their paper to the player in the right direction, and they will draw the monster. And those can be negative points for those players if they are not able to surround that monster with other stuff. Very cool. I love this game. This is really by far, that may be exaggerated, but this is a game that is, for me, this is the best roll and write. It has beaten Welcome to for me. This is my number 1 roll and write, which might be a spoiler if I ever do a roll and write top 10. That's Cartographers, Map Makers. That's how I call it, Map Makers from Thunderworks. And that's my top 10, folks. As I said, a bunch of huge big games that I haven't mentioned. Tainted Grail, for example. I have the game, I haven't played it yet, so I cannot put it in the top 10 list. As I already said, there are some games that maybe might make it to the list if I play it more and get more of an opinion about it. And there are so many games that I just haven't got a chance to play or haven't got the interest of playing, but realizing that they might be very good games for the right people. But these are mine. This is my top 10 of 2019. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite game or games of 2019 were. I'm very curious to see which games were the most popular for my viewers. Besides that, I thank you so much. Also, let me know what your most played game is of 2019 if you keep score, and put that in the comments as well. Besides that, I thank you all for watching. If I don't see you anymore before New Year, I wish you a happy New Year and a lot of great things to come. I will also do a look into 2020, and tomorrow I will do a look back on 2019 besides the gaming part. It's still a little bit about gaming, but mostly it's more like a Vitruvian live episode. Thanks again for watching. See you all next time. See you soon. Bye bye.